When you're dreaming of sailing into the sunset, the best place to start is not the internet. It's not the clear teal water, or rolling waves, or edited versions of other people's dreams. Instead, find that very back part of a boatyard, where boats go to die and the grass grows up around them and their insides are gutted. And know that they all once had a name. I'm Jessie, this is Josh, and this is Lingling, a 1979 44-foot Kelly Peterson that we bought with high hopes of renovating and sailing to the Caribbean, while our friends bought houses and started families. She needed a new deck, a new ceiling, a new paint job, a lot of things. And things that we didn't know she would need, she did need. We watched the season go by from her deck on the hard, making plans, adjusting priorities. Everything has taken longer than we thought it would.
It's a lot of, I just have to reseal the hatch, and then you open the hatch up and all the polycarbonate's crazed, and the pins for the hinges are all bent and warped, and it's gusting to 45. It's about 50 degrees out.
During the worst part of the overhaul, when our benches were tool shelves and our bodies ached, and there was a thin layer of fiberglass dust over every surface, my mother gave me a scrapbook that she'd made of my grandfather's own dreams of building a boat and sailing to the Caribbean. I never met him, he died before I was born, but he left me these little nuggets of advice in a 1971 Jacksonville Times-Union and Journal article about the trimaran he spent 4 years building in his backyard. Don't let the time element assume too great an importance. Have a goal? Yes, but I'm not meeting it. It took years longer than he thought it would, but my grandfather finally finished his boat. And so we would finish ours. The first year we owned her, Lingling was hauled out of the water as we redid every last part of her. Every Saturday, I would drive to the boatyard, past the bend in the road that floods at high tide, to the smell of marsh grass and paint, and the only other car parked next to all the boats on stilts would be Josh's. And there he would be with his tough bandana around his head, holding a blowtorch to the rudder to straighten it out, whistling something always.
The rudder doesn't spin right now, it's bent, so when I put it into hang it up on the boat, it binds. And by heating up the metal and putting tension on it using all these straps, I'm hoping to bend it back straight.
The deck was rotten and soft, so we cut it open, pulling out the soaking wet wood, replaced it with honeycomb, and refiberglassed it all together. We learned what fiberglass dust feels like, piercing into skin. The overhead was stained and ripping, so I installed a new ceiling. I grinded down the fiberglass, epoxied up wooden battens, then installed tongue-and-groove PVC panels, while learning power tools and ignoring the man at Home Depot who told me the drill I was buying was too heavy for me to hold. We noticed a blister in the hull that led to the realization that the keel was delaminated, possibly from when the boat had been struck by lightning many years before.
Setting up the vacuum pump.
Josh devised a system to drain the water out and suck epoxy back through the keel with a vacuum pump.
But most of this is full of epoxy now, so I feel pretty comfortable about how the boat is.
I sewed 11 cushion covers and refinished the V-berth. We painted the hull and replaced the deck hardware. After a year of 7-day work weeks, cold hands, sunburns, and Mondays at work half awake and half relieved, slamming Advil, we launched the boat back into the water. My parents packed our house into boxes and helped us turn a construction zone into a home.
Everything had dust. Everything. And it is absolutely beautiful now.
We moved aboard in the heat of the summer with a half-finished ceiling, peeling cap rails, and plastic taped up over our port lights.
We're about to go on our first sail.
And the more work we did, the more Lingling became a sort of child, a family member, an extension of us. And the more we sailed her, the more I thought about how my grandfather never got to sail his boat past the mouth of the St. John's River. Shortly after launching her, he had a stroke. He lost his balance and he could no longer sail. When he died, the boat rotted in the backyard. The materials he had meticulously measured and cut and glued and hammered, now just a pile of plywood. The end of the dream. The frailty of life. The number of sunsets we have left. Our deadline pushed back and further back, and the more we tried to set sail, the more Lingling needed. We replaced and rebedded the engine.
Is it working?
Oh yeah. We got oil pressure, temp is good, current at 1,000 RPM.
All I know is a life you live won't come
Whoa.
again.
We pulled the mast and replaced the rigging, complete with hiring a crane to lift the 60-foot, 2,000-pound aluminum lightning rod straight out of our living room and into the boatyard. I varnished everything. And then the next year, I varnished everything again. Back then, we thought that one day, after the next project, the boat would be done and we would know how to sail. But a boat is never done, and we will never truly dominate the sport of sailing. Yes, we can propel ourselves forward from the Florida Keys to Maine, using Dacron fabric and wind, with a touch of diesel on the bad days, traveling at an average running pace of 5 knots. But we are never really the ones in charge. Every leg of the trip has had something happen. Like, even right as we were pulling out from West Palm Beach, the jib halyard just completely frayed off and fell.
Right before we got boarded by Border Patrol.
Yeah, we got boarded by Border Patrol in the middle of the night with no warning.
That was perfect timing.
Just when you get comfortable, the prop shaft detaches from the engine when you're leaving the slip. Maine seaweed clogs your intake. While you are in water too deep to anchor, the wind is dead, and there are rocks jutting from the underwater mountain off your starboard bow. Your instruments suddenly stop working at night in the Delaware Bay, with container ships coming and going past you like eerie cities in the night.
Hey, it's fixed.
And the confused waves off Cape Fear will set you into a roll so deep and drastic that the force of it all will shear several 8-inch bolts straight out of the deck, and you will long more than anything in the world for solid ground and sleep.
This got bent so big, I have so much force on it actually bent it. That's sweet. And there are parts that were like tying, all the ropes were tied to on the Traveler, and they're just like gone right on the boat. That means like when they broke off, they shot out in the water. So
Oh my gosh.
that's how hard it was like pushing it.
Maybe it's the stars in the night. Maybe it's the moon that bring the tides alive.
But when the waves even out and the wind hits just right, you climb down the swim ladder facing outwards and spread your arms out across the stern. And suddenly you can appreciate like never before the hours of the day that you were given to live here on this beautiful earth with all its water. In ordinary life, somehow we feel that the normal everyday things matter so much. When out here, the things that matter keep you alive. One day, you look to your left, hold your coffee, open your eyes, and here you are. In clear teal water and rolling waves. This is not someone else's dream. It is your own. It is your grandfather's, passed down somehow by the intangible pieces of the universe that glue you together.